Harp on too much about Bellows Doomfist because first of all, he's not even playing it. Second of all, the last time we hyped it up, he just died straight away. So
certainly, I don't own a harp.
That's true. Neither do I actually. Who does own one? I'm not too sure.
A harpist, probably.
What we are going to see here is more of a classic dive coming up from LYNX. Bello onto the Genji. Winston D.Va kind of dive. Talon got to keep playing a bit of this Winston Goats though.
Won't. I don't know, it doesn't work. But there's a nice dive in thanks to that Winston. They do actually trade one back, but the damage has already been done on the side of Talon here. And LYNX are just going to have to take this one on the chin, pull back, reassess, try again.
You can see the great positioning from Talon Esports there as well. They see that Bello's trying to get some high ground, maybe flank around while it's happening. Talon are like, all right, we'll take the 6v5 here, the 6v4 maybe even. This could be interesting. The Tsunosama 1v1 versus Persia
2v1.
instantly gets shut down there, has to go back.
Yeah, well, at least he could go back. That's the saving grace of all that. But it's actually given LYNX some space on the point because the rest of Talon actually pulled quite a ways back in case there were more members there. Now suddenly they're the ones diving onto LYNX on the point. Villeneuve in that dive does go down. Looks like, oh no, not quite trading with Rodtime. He stays alive on just a sliver of health. Bello does not be so lucky though. They do trade one on Haru. They're looking in okay shape, but they do need to get some more kills through, especially with the weak starting to come up on a grab here.
This is about the nano boost coming on Rodtongue. Maybe it saves them a little bit of time here. Bello nearly coming back with the blade. That could be the game-winning blade if he can get here on time.
They didn't get too much out of that nano boost, unfortunately. It just created a bit of time for them, but Tsunosama getting picked. Zobi is low. I don't know if he gets out of this one alive, assuming there could be some good follow-up. In fact, neither he nor Panties will get out. And Rodtongue with boot. That's really rough for LYNX.
And this is where they get punished for, unfortunately, holding on to that point as long as they did. They get no progress off of it. If they had just reset, they save the nano boost, they get to use it with the Genji Dragon Blade for a nano blade, and that probably just ends up being a better combo for them. Now that they don't have that, they sort the play into Transcendence and a grab, and they just don't have good options to defend against it.
Now, LYNX.
Well, EMP actually might be good.
It's got to be good, and they've got to combo it with the Dragon Blade. Unfortunately, done a bad job of keeping these people alive. Tsunosama commits. Bello looks to go in, but Persia was able to avoid the EMP, was able to get a Transcendence, which means they can't blade, and now that hack has run out. LYNX haven't really made any headway.
It's a 1-for-1 trade there, Transcendence for EMP, so LYNX, they didn't commit the Dragon Blade, thankfully, because otherwise it would have been a 1-for-2 trade. Now that Panties is coming up to another nano, you can nano blade again, which could be very useful.
And that's got to be the combo they're relying on now that they can't do the EMP, Dragon Blade rather. Just waiting for Panties. Oh, that's so unfortunate as Bello pulls out the blade. Panties goes down. And Talon, nice grab, nice follow-up. They're looking pretty solid rather on this defense.
One thing I gotta say for Talon Esports that they've been consistently doing is they're very good at punishing hesitation. You see that LYNX actually, they were just waiting a little bit. Oh, here we go, Bello Doomfist. Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna hype it up. What I am saying is because they knew LYNX were waiting for a nano blade combo, they saw the hesitation, they went and got Panties down and nullified the nano boost altogether, while the blade just does nothing.
That being said, this is the best opportunity yet for LYNX, just because they have an ultimate lead. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say Bello's on Doomfist as well, but they're going to put the nano boost on and gets right into the thick of it, trying to find these backliners, battling and brawling away. Needs to avoid the self-destruct. It's not going to catch anyone as now LYNX look to dive for the point, but Bello low on the side. Aquila able to chase him down. Now they collapse in. They find Panties, and those ultimates that LYNX had, they've not actually used all of them. They still have Bumbarab for self-destruct. Talon used what little they had and managed to just plainly out-frag.
To be quite honest, I feel like we're back on Ilios all over again. The well map, I just turn away for a split second and suddenly it's 10 seconds remaining, nearly the overtime. Talon Esports are spawn camping. Rodtongue doesn't even get a chance to respawn. Look at this, LYNX can't even get onto the point.
Bumbarapa just trying to dive for the point, throwing out a self-destruct to give Zobi some space. He gets there and immediately arrives to the point as a corpse. Rodtongue gets pushed back, now they're stuck in a grab. Bumbarapa did get on the point, but he lost his mech for it. Rodtongue's dead, Bumbarapa staggered out. Overtime starting to tick away, and no members of LYNX in sight. Persia throws out a Transcendence just for star points. That's going to be a full hold on point A.
Yeah, super clean there on the defense for Talon Esports. Aside from losing a couple early members like Persia in that initial engagement, once they had some ultimates to play with, they just kind of snowballed that advantage further and further and further. You can see on the LYNX TH side, couldn't quite decide what their answer was going to be. Waiting for the Dragon Blade, doesn't quite get the nano in there. Bello goes on Doomfist, doesn't quite find the success. Suddenly you're about 10 seconds away from overtime, and it is all over just like that. And I think this map is in the sort of position now, 4 minutes to get one tick onto A for Talon Esports. It's probably just going to be all over just like that.
Them's the breaks. But I mean, That's the caliber of team Talon are. They are not Season 2 victors for no reason. That was a tough season to win out. You've got to consider LYNX. I mean, they are going to be the underdog here. That's the cold, hard truth of it all, and we are looking like we might be on track for that first 4-0, but it's not all over yet. Talon do still actually have to cap that third.
And, I mean, just based on how We Are Eternal Gaming has been playing, and we'll soon see from Granzer and Xavier as well, there's a high chance that this is potentially, and it will be confirmed when we get to the end of the regular season, this could potentially be the #1 team playing the #6 team in the group, which wouldn't surprise us if the result ends up in a 4-0. I mean, that's just kind of the expected result if that is the kind of matchup we're in.
That's the one that ought to be a 4-0 if anyone is going to be. It would have been interesting, actually, and it could still happen if LYNX do take a map off Talon here, even if Talon secure the win, purely because it again, speaks to the closeness of this group as we've seen so far. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Like I said, that third still needs to be capped. And there's still another map to go after this. Talon, though, poised to at least take the win here.
All right, well, this time around, LYNX do see the rotation, but where they're going to stop this? Nice pick on Aquila.
Yeah, good catch by Bello, popping him up into the air and able to close out on him, but they still need to get these other kills. There's the Ruckus Punch in on top of Villeneuve. The follow-up is not quite there just yet, but these tanks are getting lower and lower. But Persia, with the healing in, has yet to go down as well. Gagora taking some hurt, but they're never actually finishing off these kills. Eventually, something's got to give, and it is going to be Villeneuve. Even as the Coalescence came out, that was nearly rescuable, and a nice Meteor Strike onto the Pilot Form Diva. Bello does take a bit too much pain here. And actually, Talon aren't out of this one just yet with the amount of charge a week has.
Yeah, certainly, and the closer respawns as well for Talon Esports. Look at the grab, nearly blind. Here it comes.
Yeah, right on top of Broadtongue, who was forced to use the Primal Rage, but can't even jump out of the grab. Finally gets it right at the end and is immediately going to die. Tsurusama about to get an EMP, but not quite in time. He is now dead. And those few members of Talon that were able to stay in the fight, Bello, he got a nice early pick onto Aquila, or set up the early pick onto Aquila rather, but they couldn't find anything else beyond that. By the time they got kills, ultimates were effective for Talon and they held on to the point.
And it kind of reminds me of Hollywood a little bit, where they get the 6 versus 5, but then just failed to pick up on the next couple of kills, failed to convert onto the other members, and you see how low the tanks on the Talon side were starting to get, but they just couldn't quite find them out. Villeneuve and Gagora just kept on staying alive. A lot of healing coming through from the supports as well, which is why we saw an early Coalescence. Then you thought maybe, okay, this is where they actually start winning this fight. They get both the tanks finally. They even get Gagora while he's trying to remake, and the Coalescence doesn't do that much, but then nothing. Then the respawns start coming through from Talon Esports, and before you know it, it's just done.
I mean, it was just a good win from Talon. It was, like we said, similar to what we saw in Hollywood, where, let's be completely honest, one team just kind of outclassed the other. I'd even dare say that that goes as far back as Ilios, where it was a 100-0 and then 100 to about 30 based off just one fight. That was all LYNX got in the entire course of Control. And it's felt kind of similar throughout the rest of this. So with that, Talon do at least secure the win, a 3-0. And we are kind of on track now for that 4-0 we've been talking about. It would be our first one of the season so far.
So far, definitely the cleanest 3-0. I mean, we haven't had a lot of 3-0s. I think there's been at least one series where it was a 3-0, then the last team sort of came through.
Sure
that was yesterday, where it was a 3-0, and then the fourth map went to the other team.
No,
I'm trying to remember who that actually was. Might have been Giant Esports. Actually, Giant Esports got that fourth map in there just right in the nick of time. So maybe LYNX TH sort of repeat that and get themselves that fourth map win again. As a reminder, this is where they came back and got a map win against Granzer in that series last week as well, to sort of reset it to 2-2. This time around, not going to get the reset on 2-2, but at least they'll save a bit of face here, get that 1-3, and sort of at least maintain the Pacific standard of at least 3 1s.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a reputation. We've got a script to follow. Reminds me of Hollywood and that everything is scripted. In all seriousness, though, there is a script. We're expecting a 4-0. Let's be completely honest. We're expecting a 4-0. We could say all these other things, hey, 3 1s and all that. We have had a lot of them over the course of the season so far. But look, if there is going to be a team that is going to secure the first 4-0, rather, then I think Talon is kind of the most deserving, purely because of that legacy of being a returning champion, but it's also just kind of, it feels like they're getting back on track after the more shaky win against Nova, which is more to Nova's credit than it is to Talon's detriment, but if you're wanting to be that repeat champion, it is these 4-0s that you need to start collecting.
And I think if you are LYNX right now, you sort of go back to Hollywood and find out what was working, when it was. By the way, next map is going to be Route 66 coming at you. And what you really do need to look at for the Hollywood map was the fact that LYNX actually were able to cap that one through, and it wasn't an easy thing to be able to do as well. So when they kind of put, I want to say, Talon into a bit of disarray, add some chaos into the mix, really break up the predictability of just strong macro alt economies and start, you know, removing some of the value of some of the ultimates and breaking up that just rotation of defensive ultimates and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of, yeah, just having the curveballs and just having stuff that kind of surprises Talon Esports a little bit to just keep them on their feet, or at least knock them off their feet even. That's probably where LYNX TH, based on their performance in Hollywood, can maybe find something.
Now let's give credit where credit is due as well. You know, that performance on Hollywood, they did actually get the full cap out. The potential's clearly there. They just need to be able to do it that little bit quicker, that little bit cleaner, like what Talon's been able to do. And also on the other side of that, they need to muster up a slightly stronger defense, like what Talon were able to do. They lost a lot of fights, Talon, on the defense, but they put up a bit more resistance. They made the fights longer. They made them harder. They forced LYNX to commit more ultimates just to keep that ultimate economy not quite in, what's the opposite of recession? I grew up during the recession, that's all I know.
I was going to say depression, but that's not quite right.
It's boom is the opposite of bust. There we go. Keep the economy booming. That was the analogy I was trying to finish out there.
And just because I did remember it now, it was Cyclone Coupling versus Giant Esports, where Giant Esports came in with that fourth, on the fourth map they did win.
It was.
But on that sort of series, you have to remember, if you sort of go back, the Cyclone Coupling kind of gave away a little bit towards the end. I don't know that Talon Esports are going to make those same kind of mistakes. Yeah. I feel like Talon at this stage, at the 3-0, they're just going to drive it home, collect that 4.
Very disciplined team. You know, my biggest disappointment of the recent cinematic on Route 66 is got to meet a lot of characters. Got to meet McCree, got to meet new character Ash, Hamek Bob, and future character Echo. We still have not been able to meet Big Earl. Who is Big Earl? That's what I want to know.
Zed's Garage.
Zed's Garage. Who are all these people? Who is Panorama?
Panorama of the Panorama Cafe. Who owns all these bikes? Why is one of them orange?
Why is the one next to it black? We'll never know.
Oh, I thought they were all blue.
No,
you're right. No, okay, never mind.
Different. Yeah, it would have been wackier if they were all... oh, that's the only one with flames, actually. Would be wacky if they were all blue except for the one orange one. That would be like, oh...
Actually, I see the garage is right there, so I guess that's where they come, maybe?
Is that Ash's bike in the garage?
No, it's definitely not. Ash's bike looks very peculiar.
Peculiar?
Also, it'd be kind of strange if it was. That would be a crazy
like, just got my bike out of the shop, time to go rob a train.
It'd be like that time with the somber ARs and all that kind of stuff.
There was like teasers on Anubis and all sorts. Yeah, way ahead of time.
Yeah, I don't think they went that far.
Because there were teasers for Anna as well, and I remember reading a theory that like thought it was all the same person. Made it quite funny when they weren't. Anna and Sombra have...
So here's interesting. TYG's finally in. We haven't talked about this. We have, but he hasn't shown up. And you never have a full Talon series without seeing every single member coming out to play. 3 DPSs. Villeneuve's actually on the bench now. Gogora, the only tank.
I'm liking this flex. I think this is an...
Weird flex, but okay.
It's an okay time to pull it out is the real thing. I mean, partially because you have secured the series. I'm not a fan of experimentation too much. I do like teams just kind of taking it easy and closing it out standard. But if this is a strat that Talon have in the pocket, decent time to deploy it. 2 for 2 so far in this opening skirmish as well. And they got the closer respawn, now finding panties on the side thanks to a nice sleep. And actually, this triple DPS is starting to work.
And it doesn't look like they're quite done just yet. There was a hack onto Zobi. Not sure if they can clean that kill up. But as members are trying to retreat here, Week's just diving in.
Yeah, Weak knows no fear. Aquila neither, and that's the thing. We say that triple DPS is explosive. Either explodes in your face or it explodes in the enemies, and, well, it's just done enough to LYNX that push them back.
And I'll be honest here, this is a strat that we've seen from Ambitious Immortals and Contenders China's trials this season. Here comes Aquila, though. What did he just do?
Just trying to displace tanks that can follow up, lay down the one of the ways you can kill these tanks is just out DPS them quickly if you do get the catch. Now it's starting to come up on ultimates. Meteor Striker's going to try fish out some squishies, but at the very least separate up some tanks. Finds Rod, so actually it's a weak that closes out that kill. Both DPS are just kind of competing for a nice deflex onto the 5-ball. And it's going to be, again, a pretty clean run here for Talon.
And it's just all about momentum right now. Talon about to get all 6 ultimates. Aquila already used the Meteor Strike, so I kind of count that one in a way. LYNX TH, a bit of a reset here. Rod Tongue actually goes on to Winston now, still waiting for maybe the first rally or the grab to come through. As long as Talon Esports can continue pressure, can continue momentum, this comp will work. What LYNX TH need to do is slow down the game. Find some picks, but they're not going to happen this time though, EMP play.
Yeah, very hard to slow down the game with all those ultimates available, and Talon, what they need to do is rotate efficiently through their ultimates. 2 ultimates for 3 kills, now actually going to be a 4th one on Bomber Upper, and the nice fight win, lots of space made for the cart. That is a good cycle.
This is about the stage now where for LYNX TH, they're about to head into some of their own very important ultimates. Got to get themselves past a grab and a transcendence, and then they'll be in a pretty good place. If they get one reset against Talon, I'm not too sure Talon Esports will be able to continue with this composition if they themselves do get reset.
That's the thing. Once they get stocked up, they will have to make the change. But for as long as this is working, they don't have to change. If they get a lot of progress, then all's well that ends well.
Some of their armor is quite useful as well, especially against characters like a weak and TYG. There's the grab.
Now they're just looking to follow up on it. A little bit hard to do that with the Transcendence, but they still actually fish out Bellow in among all of that. Aquila coming up on a Meteor Strike soon. And
watch Bozo.
Charges keeping the pressure up. Bozo nearly on a grab of his own, but they've decided to commit in with this one, the Nano Boost onto Aquila. He's got the damage to justify it. Now goes sky high. No targets, unfortunately, for him to take down, but doesn't matter. You're happy to take the fight if you're Talon here.
And now he's starting to get Bellow, by the way, wants to try and match Aquila onto the Doomfist. Really like that flex from him. But LYNX, though, the unfortunate thing is, because there is a Doomfist now, it doesn't quite fit into this composition comfortably. What there will be is this Graviton Surge, finally. But unfortunately for them, Persia still has a Transcendence. He's been saving it for a while now, and what he wants to save it for is the counter grab.
And there's very little to follow up on that grab without that Transcendence even being a factor. Rod Tongue taking some pain. A weak gets picked out though, so this is now a big opportunity for LYNX, but Bellow might get traded out here, able to pull back. Rod Tongue's not so lucky. That means Talon can afford to stay in this one. LYNX haven't really been playing on the cart, and with these tanks low, they can't afford to either.
Just a little bit of slowdown there. TYG forced backwards. With Bellow down though, it's time to go in.
Yeah, they keep going aggressive. EMP is available now. A weak's been able to rejoin as well, just waiting to deploy these tools.
Still waiting for the grab. I feel like we're back on Hollywood. Just where is this grab going to come through from?
He's going to have another.
Yeah, I mean, a week's now sitting on this Genji Dragon Blade as well.
Oh, they commit that exclusively onto a weak, who even finds Bomber up his mech. In spite of that, they commit out the blade on top of the grab. It only goes into Rod Tongue, who's got a lot of health, thanks to that Sound Barrier and Primal Rage. But a weak is still the only casualty. The EMP coming out there has done a lot. Aquila had to commit the Meteor Strike, and LYNX have actually started to stabilize now. Late catch on Bellow, but Talon's members are low. They do have to start backing out.
Yeah, they do manage to finally get some of these kills, and it's taking them a while, but it now does force Talon backwards, at least for now. A week's going to change onto the Widowmaker. And this is going to just change up the playstyle ever so slightly. They can play the long range decently well here. There's not that Ryan shield blocking them, so as long as he can find good angles, which he does have at the moment, his damage should be good.
The headshot on Panties was good, but he's able to respawn before that's a real factor. It's the kill on Bozo that's really going to hurt LYNX here. A weak finds Bomber Upper as well. Does start to get pressured out, but pulls back, going to be just fine. Didn't quite get the finish off on Bellow, who was very low. Rescued by Panny's Transcendence. Now Talon get aggressive again with the Nano Boost on Aquila. Immediately drops Rod Tongue. A weak again. Finds the headshot on Panny's as Aquila takes out the other support. Bellow finally trades one back with a Meteor Strike, but immediately takes one of his own. Eats a full knuckle sandwich in a single bite. And Talon now, having only lost Haru in among all that chaos, Aquila just dominating the kill feed. Talon looking poised to cap out.
Just waiting for the final kill onto May. Panties will go down soon. And Bellows, I guess, soon to follow as well. It's just a big cleanup here for Talon Esports. Should be a cap out. 2 minutes and 19 remaining. I do want to really highlight this time because if you think about how this entire offense has gone, it's been fairly Talon one-sided. They just haven't lost really anything. A little bit of a slowdown on C, but it's all been them the whole time. And yet, they're still just 219, and that just speaks to how difficult it is to actually cap out this map. Despite winning the entire map, 219 is the time you remain on.
Now on the defense, this is where things do get a bit interesting for Talon. Look, that triple DPS, it paid off for them on the attack. On the defense, though, because they've made the hard substitutions to get that triple DPS, they are a little bit stuck on it on the defense. I'm curious to see if TYG chooses to flex or whether they will stick with a triple DPS.
And I feel like at the moment, at least, it is working. And they've highlighted over the characters as well. I do want to just delve a little bit deeper into where this originates from. So I mentioned Ambitious Immortals, which was a team that came first in Contenders Trials China for Season 3. That team ended up breaking up after Trials, but this is the kind of this is the kind of composition that I guess they either, I don't want to say they invented, but they at least popularized, which is a little bit odd to see a triple DPS in what is otherwise a 3-3 GOATS tank-centric meta. It's certainly not the standard. And now you're seeing it creep into a little of the other regions here. Talon Esports going to bring this one through. CYC, Cyclone Coupling, we did see it out of them yesterday as well. So it is starting to really permeate here a little bit.
The reality is, with the Doomfist, you can displace a tank if you can focus them down because you've got the damage to do so. There are times where you can actually out-damage the healing that comes out from the 3-3, but it is high risk, high reward, because if you don't out-damage them, and then eventually all that health and all that healing will run you down.
I see how they deal with this again. Slowing down this sort of aggressive play from Talon is correct. If they dive into you with these heavy dive characters, just give them a bit of space and then punish them for overstepping.
Well, there's a pick on Panties early on. So again, the triple DPS already off to a hot start. Ooh, a weak missing that swift strike onto the high ground means he will go down. Now Aquila, he kind of has to be the one to make this happen for them. Pulls back to the team. They only lose a week, but they do it for seed ground. And
it's a very small micro area there from a week as well. Just missing that dash up onto the high ground means it costs them his life. Talon Esports, so they have 6 back again, and now they can go back in.
Nice hack out, but they got the displacement and didn't quite get the follow-up quickly enough. Now TYG taking some damage. Again, they're looking for targets. Sobi takes a bit of hurt. He will go down. Haru actually finishing that one off. Meteor Strike dead on top of Panties. And the punch onto the backside of the rest of these tanks now as they go into full retreat. And Talon, despite losing a week earlier on, didn't get rolled over, had enough time to reset, and are now looking back in shape.
Akila's really looking like the superstar here. He's had so much impact on the Doomfist so far. Very difficult to take down. And the support coming up from both Gagora, Haru, and Persia. The bubbles from Gagora specifically, keeping himself alive. And it's difficult because do you focus Aquila here? Do you focus a weak or TYG? All three of them are very slippery.
That is a nice, big, quick, clean, easy combo of the EMP plus the Graviton Surge. TYG got low, didn't die, Gong rings out, and Talon looking clean and tidy.
And at this sort of point, I'd even expect a week to be able to blade without the nano boost here, just because Talon Esports have been so good economically at being efficient with getting a lot of value off of one ultimate. So maybe they even just save this. Maybe combo it up with Aquila to really get some high value on the Doomfist. But whatever they can decide to do right now, it is Super McCree coming up from LYNX TH, which is great because anyone that dives any of the 3 DPSs, if they get stunned, they're probably down.
And there it is. Oh, no way. Bombarapa went in with the shield bash and died to the nanoed up Swift Strike. That's how much damage the Genji does there. And then able to find Bello as well. So all that crowd control that's meant to save the McCree, not able to connect, and he's the casualty of the fight. Aquila plate cleanup gets the remaining 4, would you believe, despite how close they are to the spawn.
And that's the thing, because everyone was looking at a weak, no one looked at Aquila, and while you're turned away, sucker punch straight to the jaw, and you could see there, just lining up the shield bash. Bombarapa nearly had her. If he just got a weak down, landed the flashbang after that, that probably would have been a wasted nanoblade, but just not the case. LYNX TH changed it up again. This time Bello's going to be on his own Genji. Bozo is now on the Diva.
This is now the 3rd different team comp, 4th actually, that we've seen out of LYNX, and not sure it's going to have any more success. Haru closing out on Bombarapa, and there we go. Meteor Strike with the back line again. This time it finds 2. They're sour-faced after licking the salt, sucking the lime, and having a big shot of Aquila. Now Talon again just looking so clean on these fights.
Yeah, 50 seconds to go now. EMP ready to go. The first Transcendence built by Persia is still there. He hasn't had to use it. There's no reason for him to throw it out there until something from LYNX TH really challenges it. LYNX, every time they lose a fight, it seems, every time they respawn, it's a new comp. They're just fishing for potential results. It's got to be a Faro this time just to throw something into the mix.
And this one is at least a little bit less vulnerable to the EMP and the Dragon Blade, and indeed actually the Doomfist as well. This could be the thing that LYNX have been needing this entire time, but man, if this finally works, it's going to have taken them the entire time to do so. And I said that we saved from the Dragon Play, but would you believe it? A week finds both Bello and Zovi in the air. Nothing will stop this man. Not tanks, not gravity, and not that shield on Bombarafa either. Going to be able to close out that one, even committing a grab because, hey, why not? I think LYNX might be able to force overtime. No, they're not even going to be able to do that. That is how you win a 4-0.
And I lied, Persia wasn't hacked because the Sombra was on his team. He was just confidently not using it because he knew they were going to win anyway. They absolutely did not. He used it as a victory transcendence just for the fireworks, and why not? So even towards the end there, I mean, he went down, saved the trans, the blade catches everyone, and between the 3 DPSs, everyone's just doing a fantastic job. I mean, TYG is probably the most quiet member in terms of appearing on the kill feed and what he's actually doing. And that's just because he's playing a more supportive DPS role. He's doing some damage, building up EMPs, hacking members, such that a weak and then Aquila can go in for the kill.
And that's the thing, he is there to, like you said, hack members up, play harassment, and also when the displacement comes out from Aquila, get some extra damage in there to help set up, like you said, set up the kills for a week and for Aquila. It's very understated, but that's the thing. That's this triple DPS. They had played it in the past. I'm so glad that they're sticking with it. We're seeing it again this season, and it looks like it could be a bit of a, not an ace up their sleeve necessarily, but just another string in the bow.
Yeah. As I said, I jokingly said it's a weird flex, but I actually think I still stick to that because, to be quite fair with you, like, I'll be honest with you, I say that I'm not too sure if this will work against another top of the table team. Like maybe you don't ever run this against a team like Hong Kong Attitude, for example. Against a team like LYNX, you can probably do quite a bit because I still think there are just ways to play against it. If LYNX just had a more appropriate play, so I don't think it came down to compositions necessarily. They kept changing heroes, but that wasn't the key issue. It was just how they were approaching it. You want this overconfident, and deservedly overconfident because they're winning so hard. You want them to dive deep onto you. You want to give them space, back up, punish them, punish the heavy divers, and just pick off their members. And you had the right comp. You played Super McCree. That's ideal. One shield bash flashbang is a dead DPS, guaranteed, and they just never could land a good combo.
And they kind of kept playing right into it as well as the other unfortunate truth there. But even when they weren't, I mean, there's the part of this where Talon are actually just that good.
Yep. And if you want to get good, I got some news for you because Open Division has opened up here. Registration closes on December the 3rd. This is the path to pro here. If you make it through Open Division, you get to play in Contenders trials and then potentially make your way into Contenders Season 1 for 2019. That is what is up for grabs. And Open Division will be starting pretty soon in December. So good chance for everyone to sort of test the middle there and give it a go.
It's well worth it. Some of these players started in Open Division themselves, and, well, look at how far they've come. There's only one way to do it.
There certainly is. And you're sort of at the point now where I guess we can look forward to the next and final match. We can preview that one just a little bit here. AVRL Esports will be taking on Grand Zero. I actually think